Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into fundraising, specifically how to get better at it. You guys shared Cara Logan's article, How to Be a Better Fundraiser, and wow, there are some really interesting points in there.
Definitely.
But before we even get into the specifics, I think it's important to take a step back and look at just how much comes from individual giving.
Yeah.
It's actually a massive 64% of all funding for nonprofits, something like $319 billion, comes from those individuals, you and me.
It's huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So understanding how to connect with donors on a personal level, I mean, that's absolutely crucial.
Yeah, definitely. And the article really digs into a lot of key areas.
It does, yeah.
Things like donor motivation and building trust, how to use technology to your advantage, crafting those, really killer campaigns, and of course, keeping those donors coming back, retaining them.
Right. And one of the things that really jumped out at me, at least from reading the article, was that 75% of donors say they need to feel emotionally connected to a cause before they even think about giving.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Oh, yeah?
It's got to be something that resonates with them on a personal level.
Definitely.
And there's even this inspiring story about a woman named Mrs. Ann Humes, who's been sponsoring children for over 60 years. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
But maybe this is a good point to bring in our expert to kind of break down some of these insights a little bit further.
Yeah, it really is amazing how much power individual donors have. The article does a great job of mapping out that whole journey that donors go through.
Right.
And you're right, it all starts with that why. Why do people give in the first place? And it's not always about the numbers or, the logic behind it.
Right.
It really comes down to that emotional connection.
Okay, so let's dig into that emotional connection a little bit. I mean, the article mentioned that 75% of donors, are driven by it. 61% are influenced by like their own personal experiences.
Yeah.
So how can nonprofits really tap into that? Because it seems like a fine line between like appealing to emotion and, coming across as manipulative.
Yeah, you're right. It is a fine line.
Yeah.
And that's where authenticity comes in.
Okay.
It has to be genuine. Nonprofits have to tell those real stories that their audience can connect with. The article uses child sponsorship programs as a good example.
Right.
Some people are moved to just help a specific child, right? Like they want to offer direct support one-on-one. Others, they're drawn to the idea of improving a whole community.
Yeah.
And then you have those who are looking for that really deep personal connection. They want to exchange letters, get those updates.
So it's about showcasing different sides of the cause, right? So that it can appeal to these different motivations.
Yeah. Exactly. You got it. And, the article, it talks about this woman, Mrs. Ann Hume. She's been sponsoring children for over 60 years.
Yeah.
And there's this quote from her: "These children keep me awake and very much alive." I mean, that is powerful.
Wow, yeah.
And it shows how that emotional bond can keep someone engaged for decades.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've got this emotional connection. That's crucial. But the article also talks a lot about trust.
Oh, absolutely. Trust is essential. There's this quote in the article from Karen Cochran that really stuck with me. She says, "You earn trust in drops, but lose it in buckets."
Yeah, that's very true.
And it's so true, especially when it comes to nonprofits. I mean, think about it. You're asking people to entrust you with their hard-earned money
Right.
to make a difference. So proving that you're trustworthy, I mean, that's paramount.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can nonprofits actually build that trust, drop by precious drop?
Right.
The article mentions transparency. Is that the key?
Transparency is definitely a big piece of the puzzle. Donors want to know where their money's going and how it's being used, right?
Right, yeah.
The article, it recommends using visuals, things like photos, videos showing that impact. Real-life case studies are also really powerful.
Yeah.
Because they make the impact tangible, something people can relate to.
So it's like giving those donors a behind-the-scenes look.
Yeah.
But is it just about sharing that information? What about acknowledging the donors themselves?
Oh, you're absolutely right. Recognition is just as important as transparency.
Okay.
Even a simple thank you, personalized, can go a long way.
Yeah.
It shows the donors that you see them, you value their contribution, you're grateful.
It's like, I mean, think about it. You go to a store.
Right.
Are you more likely to go back to the one where they remember your name or the one where you're just another transaction?
Exactly. You want to feel like a valued customer,
Yeah.
not just a source of revenue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do nonprofits, how do they do that? I mean,
Yeah.
is it enough to just send out a generic thank you email?
Definitely not. No, you're right. A generic email, it feels impersonal, almost robotic in a way.
Yeah.
The article suggests taking it a step further. Personalize those thank you messages, acknowledge milestones.
Okay.
Even segmenting the communication based on giving levels can make a big difference. For example, let's say you're a smaller nonprofit and someone makes a really significant donation.
Right.
Having the executive director write a handwritten thank you note, or even just giving them a call to say thank you, that's going to have a much stronger impact than a mass email.
Makes sense. So it's about showing them they are more than just a number,
Right.
that they're actually part of something bigger.
Exactly.
But ultimately, I guess it all boils down to showing results.
Yeah.
Donors, they want to see how their contributions are actually making a difference in the real world.
Absolutely. Transparency, recognition, those build trust. But you're right. Ultimately, donors want to see that tangible outcome. They want to know their money is being used effectively and that it's making a real difference. And that's where impact reporting comes in.
Right. The article talks about how important it is to show how donations are being used.
Right.
So practically speaking, what are some ways to do that?
There's so many creative ways to really showcase impact. Detailed reports, for example, with compelling visuals, data, that's a great starting point.
Okay.
But don't be afraid to go beyond just the numbers. Share those inspiring success stories. Highlight the real people whose lives have been changed by the generosity of your donors.
Those stories are so powerful. I mean, it's what brings it to life. It humanizes the impact. It allows donors to connect with the cause on a much deeper level.
Exactly. Imagine a donor who contributes to, let's say, a clean water project. Instead of just sending them a report with a bunch of statistics, share a story about a family who now has clean water because of their donation. That would be so much more impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. It
Yeah.
creates that personal connection, like you said, and demonstrates that tangible difference that their contribution made.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot here. The emotional side of things, the trust building, showing that impact. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about crafting these killer fundraising campaigns.
Okay.
The ones that grab attention. The article mentions organizations using good storytelling. Those see a 45% donor retention rate
Yeah.
compared to only 27% for those who don't.
It's a big difference.
This massive difference.
It is. It all comes back to the power of storytelling. Stories have this amazing ability to connect with us on a deeper level. They make information more memorable, relatable, emotionally resonant.
Yeah. And the article even gives this example of how the Save a Puppy Foundation, they personalize those welcome messages for new donors.
Right. It just shows you even those little touches can create a more personalized and engaging experience. Donors are more likely to come back when they feel like they're actually seen, valued as individuals.
Right. So how do we craft those compelling stories that resonate with donors? I mean, what are the key ingredients? The article seems to really break it down.
It does. The first thing to remember is focus on the individuals, not just the statistics.
Okay.
Numbers are important, but they don't always evoke emotion. Instead of saying, we provided clean water to 100 families, tell the story of one family.
Right.
Describe their struggles, their hopes, how your organization changed their lives.
It's so much more powerful. It makes the impact real.
Exactly.
And don't forget the visuals. A strong image or even a short video can enhance the story so much and create that emotional connection.
Absolutely. A well-chosen image, it can speak volumes, and clear, concise language is key. Avoid jargon or overly technical terms.
Right?
The goal is to connect with donors on an emotional level, so keep that language simple, engaging, heartfelt.
So it's telling a story that's both informative and emotionally engaging, using those visuals, clear language.
Yeah.
What about a call to action?
Oh, yes.
The article mentions that, right?
Every story needs that clear call to action. What do you want the reader to do after they finish your story? Do you want them to donate, volunteer, spread the word,
Right.
make it super easy for them to take that next step?
Okay, so it's about creating a compelling narrative
Yeah.
that moves the reader to action.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. We've covered a lot of ground here,
Yeah.
from the emotional connection, building trust, the art of storytelling. But in today's digital world, we can't just tell a good story.
Right.
We need to leverage technology.
Yes, you got it. The article, it points out that 96%, that's a huge number, of nonprofits
Yeah.
say technology has been a big part of their
It
growth.
makes sense.
It makes sense, right? We live in a digital age.
Yeah.
And if nonprofits want to reach their target audience and really maximize their impact, they got to embrace these tools and platforms that are out there.
Absolutely. And that brings us to a really interesting part of the article, which is a platform called Help You Sponsor, or HYS.
Yes. HYS.
Yeah,
HYS is designed to make the whole sponsorship and donor management process so much easier. It's pretty fascinating.
it is.
Think about it. If you can automate tasks like sending out tax receipts and acknowledgments, that frees up so much time for your team to focus on actually building those relationships with donors.
It sounds like a game changer for organizations, especially those running those sponsorship programs.
For sure.
The article mentions that it can cut down on all those admin tasks and streamline the communication.
It does.
But it also talks about this broader use of data in fundraising, not just within this specific platform. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
Data is like gold for nonprofits.
Right.
You can use it to track those key metrics, like how often people are donating, what's the average donation size, and it helps you understand donor behavior, the patterns. Then you can use this information to personalize your communication, which can lead to more effective fundraising.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. The article even mentions that analyzing data can help you see which campaigns are really resonating with donors.
Okay.
That means nonprofits can tailor future appeals for even greater impact. Imagine being able to identify your most engaged donors and then invite them to special events or volunteer opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
It's brilliant.
It takes fundraising from like a one-size-fits-all approach
Yeah.
to something much more targeted and personalized.
Exactly. And then there's the whole online donation experience.
Right.
The article really emphasizes how important it is to make it easy for people to donate online.
Right. Because no one wants to deal with a clunky website or a complicated form.
Exactly. Nobody has time for that.
No. So what are some things nonprofits should keep in mind in that area?
Well, the article highlights a few things. Mobile optimization is huge. I mean, more and more people are using their phones to donate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And you also want to offer multiple payment options.
Right.
Some people might prefer credit cards, others might use PayPal, Venmo.
Yeah.
The more options you offer, the easier it is for people to give.
It's about removing all those barriers.
Exactly.
And what about those automated receipts and the recurring giving options?
Those are great tools for improving the donor experience and really encouraging people to give again.
Okay.
Automated receipts, well, those make sure donors get confirmation of their gift right away.
Right.
Which is important for transparency and accountability. And recurring giving.
Yeah.
That lets donors set up automatic donations, monthly, yearly, and that creates a really reliable stream of income for nonprofits.
Recurring giving does seem like a bit of a game changer for nonprofits.
It is.
The article mentioned that recurring donors actually contribute significantly more on an annual basis. But you know what? Before we dive into that, let's shift our focus a bit.
Okay.
We've talked about the why and the how of fundraising, from building trust and crafting those compelling stories to using technology and improving the donor experience. Let's focus now on that long game, building those lasting relationships with donors, making sure they stick around.
Right. Retaining them.
Yes, retaining them.
It's interesting. The article really stresses that fundraising isn't just about getting new donors.
Right.
It's about nurturing the ones you already have.
It's like any relationship, right?
Exactly.
You've got to put in the time and the effort.
Yeah.
And you've got to genuinely care to make it last.
Exactly. And just like in our personal relationships, consistent communication, that's key.
Right.
I mean, think about it. How would you feel if a friend only called you when they needed something?
Oh, yeah.
Not great, right?
No, not at all.
It's the same with donors. Makes sense.
You can't just show up when you need money.
Right.
You need to be cultivating those relationships all year round.
So how can nonprofits do that? The article, it talks a lot about gratitude.
Yeah.
And the importance of having a solid thank you program.
Gratitude is huge.
Okay.
It sounds simple, but a heartfelt thank you can make a world of difference.
Yeah.
It shows donors that you appreciate their contribution
Yeah.
and that it's making an impact.
Okay. But is a simple thank you enough? Shouldn't it be a little more, personalized, a little more specific?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
A generic thank you can feel a little impersonal, even insincere.
Yeah.
The article, it recommends going a step further.
Okay.
Personalize those messages. Instead of just saying, thank you for your donation,
Yeah.
acknowledge the amount they gave and maybe even mention how it will be used.
Right. Okay.
Like you could say, thank you so much for your generous gift of $100. This will help us provide 20 families with meals.
That's so much better.
Right. Yeah, it's much more impactful. It connects the dots a little more for them.
Exactly.
And what about thank you notes? Are those handwritten notes, are they still relevant these days, with everything being digital?
They totally are.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Emails and phone calls, those are great for quick acknowledgement. But
Yeah.
a handwritten note, it adds a personal touch. It stands out.
Yeah, I get that.
Think about it. What if you got a handwritten note from the CEO of a company you support?
Oh, wow.
You'd feel pretty valued, right?
Yeah. That,
It shows they took the time to thank you personally.
okay, so we've got personalized messages, handwritten notes. What else can nonprofits do?
Well, the article talks about getting donors involved in your mission.
Okay.
It could be anything like exclusive events, volunteer opportunities, or even joining advisory committees.
Yeah,
The point is to make them feel like they're part of something bigger.
I like that. It creates a sense of community.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a shared purpose.
And it's also about giving donors a voice. The article even suggests having feedback sessions where they can share their ideas.
I love that. It shows you actually care about what they think.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it all comes back to results, right?
Yeah.
Donors want to see that their money is actually making a difference.
Absolutely. You can build all the trust you want, share amazing stories,
Right.
but if you can't show tangible results, you're going to lose those donors.
Yeah, that's true.
The article says that 80% of donors want to know how their money is being used,
Wow.
and
Okay.
60% are willing to give more when they see results.
That's huge. So how can nonprofits effectively showcase those results? What are some specific things they can do?
The article has some great examples. Imagine someone donates $25.
Okay.
You can tell them your $25 provided 25 meals to families in need.
I see. So you're connecting the donation to a direct impact.
Exactly. It's not just an abstract amount anymore.
It's like, oh, wow, my $25 actually did that.
Right.
I like that.
Or let's say someone gives $50. You could say, your $50 helps support a community garden, providing fresh produce to 10 local families.
Those are great examples.
And you can get even more specific. A $300 donation could cover medical supplies for a rural clinic. A $1,000 donation could fund a scholarship for a student.
So it's all about showing them the connection, right?
Exactly. Connect the dots between the donation and the real-world impact.
Okay, so you've painted that picture for them.
Right.
You've shown them how their contribution is making a difference.
Right.
But then how do you keep that momentum going? How do you make sure those first-time donors turn into repeat donors?
That's where donor retention strategies come in.
Oh,
The article points out that keeping your current donors is way more cost-effective than trying to find new ones.
makes sense.
It's about building those long-term relationships we talked about earlier.
So what are some tactics for, increasing donor retention?
Well, everything we've discussed plays a part: expressing gratitude, personalized communication, showing impact.
Yeah.
But there are some more targeted strategies, too. The article mentions having a good donor welcome series.
What's that?
It's a series of automated emails that new donors get after making their first gift.
So it's like welcoming them into the fold.
Exactly. It introduces them to your organization, makes them feel like part of the family.
Okay. And you use these emails to share your mission, your impact.
Exactly. And introduce key members of your team.
Makes sense. It's another way to build that personal connection.
Exactly.
And what about those recurring giving programs we touched on earlier?
Oh, yeah.
The article seemed to think they were really important.
They are. They're an incredible way to build a steady stream of revenue for your nonprofit.
Okay.
When a donor signs up for a recurring donation, they're making a long-term commitment to your cause.
It's like they're saying, I believe in what you're doing.
Exactly. It gives you predictable income so you can plan for the future.
Yeah, that makes sense. It takes the guesswork out of things.
Right. And the article has tips for encouraging those recurring donations. One is to highlight the impact of a monthly donation.
Okay.
For example, instead of asking for a one-time gift of $100, you could say, for just $8 a month, you can help provide a child with meals for a whole year.
That's really smart.
Right.
It makes it seem more manageable.
And it shows the long-term impact.
Exactly. So what other tactics are there?
You can offer incentives for signing up, like exclusive content or early access to events.
Okay.
It makes them feel like they're getting something extra for their commitment.
It's like a VIP club for your biggest supporters.
Exactly. And remember, it's all about building those relationships, showing donors you value them.
So it's not just about sending an email every now and then.
No, it's about genuine connection.
Right. Understanding their motivations.
It's in giving them a meaningful experience.
So you treat them like partners, not just like walking wallets.
Yeah. Exactly. When donors feel like they're part of something special, they'll stick around.
That makes a lot of sense. This has been so helpful. I feel like I've learned so much about fundraising.
I'm glad.
But before we wrap up, I have one last question.
Okay.
Given everything we've talked about, the emotional connection, the trust, technology, all of it,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to nonprofits that are just starting out, just starting their fundraising journey?
That's a great question. I think the most important thing is to remember that fundraising is a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay.
It takes time to build those relationships, cultivate trust, show impact.
Right.
Don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away.
So patience is key.
Absolutely. Oh, and never underestimate the power of a genuine thank you.
That's great advice. A thank you can go a long way. Yeah, that's such good advice. A thank you, it really can go a long way in building those lasting relationships.
Yeah.
But speaking of getting started, I know the article also gave some pretty concrete steps, things nonprofits can do to up their fundraising game, even if they're, brand new to all this. What were some of those key takeaways?
Well, one of the most important things is to start collecting data, like
Right.
right away. Even something basic just to track, average donation size, how often people are giving, how different campaigns are performing. All that can provide some really valuable insights.
It's like having a fundraising GPS.
Yeah,
You got to know where you are before you can figure out where you're going.
exactly. And the best part is you don't need fancy software or a huge budget to get started. Even just a simple spreadsheet can do the trick.
So even small nonprofits, with limited resources, they can still benefit from
Oh,
this.
absolutely.
What else did the article recommend?
Well, it really hammered home the importance of a solid thank you system. Remember that 48-hour window for a personalized note to first-time donors?
Yeah.
That's golden. It shows you care, that you're paying attention.
Makes sense. A prompt and personalized thank you that can really make someone feel appreciated.
For sure. And again, it doesn't have to be anything super complicated. Even just a quick email with a personal touch, it can be really effective.
So data collection and a solid thank you system. Two great actionable steps. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. They also really push for launching a recurring giving program.
Okay.
Recurring donors, they're like the holy grail of fundraising. They usually give way more annually than one-time donors, and it creates a really reliable income stream that you can count on.
That makes a lot of sense. It
Mm.
helps with planning, budgeting, all that.
Yeah.
But how do you get people to actually sign up for recurring donations?
Well, there are a few strategies. One is to highlight the impact of a monthly donation. Like, instead of asking for a one-time gift of, say, $100, you could frame it as, for just $10 a month, you can help provide a child with clean water for a whole year.
That's a much better way to put it. It breaks it down, and it shows them what their contribution can do over time. What other tactics are there?
Another good one is to offer incentives, things like exclusive content or maybe early access to events. The key is to make them feel like they're getting something extra for making that commitment.
It's like a VIP club for your most loyal supporters.
Exactly. And remember, it all comes back to building relationships, showing donors you really value their support.
This has been an incredible deep dive into fundraising. We've learned so much, from donor motivation and building trust to, crafting those compelling campaigns and leveraging technology. But as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, yeah. What's the big takeaway here? What should people be thinking about?
Out of everything we talked about, what really stuck with me is that fundraising, it's not just about asking for money.
Right.
It's about connecting with people who share your passion, building genuine relationships, and inspiring them to make a difference.
I love that. It's about building a community of supporters who are invested in your mission and, excited to be a part of your journey.
Exactly. And remember, every donor, whether they give $5 or $5,000, they are making a difference.
Absolutely. Never underestimate that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. I hope you found it informative and inspiring.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep learning. There are so many resources out there.
And don't be afraid to, try new things, experiment a little. What works for one organization might not work for another.
Right. Find what works for you.
Find your voice.
That's great advice.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep changing the world.